welcome or welcome back to my channel. We are in Wisconsin for the next couple of days going to a wedding, and I decided that I would do a little vlogging. I'm gonna read a lot and I figured it'd be fun. So here is yet another vlog. Yeah. In the clips, but I've been reading a psalm for the wild built, which is incredible. I think it's definitely going to be in my top 10 favorite books that I've read this year. It's so brilliant. I mean, I loved the first one in her Others series as well. A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, I think it's called. So anyway, it's fantastic. I did want to read some of the beginning to you and kind of give you a synopsis. The inside flap, I'm just going to read that first because I feel like it kind of gives a good intro. Here we go. It has been centuries since the robots of Panga gained self-awareness and laid down their tools. Centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Centuries since they faded into myth and urban legend. One day, the life of a tea monk is upended by the arrival of a robot, there to honor the old promise of checking in. The robot has one question: what do people need? But the answer to that question depends on who you ask and how. They're going to need to ask it a lot. And it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Essentially, this person, Dex, they are a tea monk, and they, in the first chapter, quit being a monk to be a tea monk, which is essentially where they go around to different villages and serve tea based on what people need. It's so beautiful. This description of the tea and food and the landscape is beautiful. I was just hooked from the beginning. like the first sentence in like kind of the prologue, if you ask 6 different monks the question of which godly domain robot consciousness belongs to, you'll get 7 different answers. And that's just how it starts. And oh my gosh, I don't know, I feel like I've been so blown away by it, like the commentary / reflection on human life and how human life exists in relation to other species and nature. Essentially, like in this like future / world, the humans take up like maybe 50% of space. I think that's what it is, and it's all confined to like cities, this like one big city, and then these like outlying villages, and then the rest of it is like blocked off, like it's supposed to be just nature, like people aren't really supposed to go there, so they've kind of separated it, learning from past mistakes of completely taking over the planet and destroying a lot of species. So yeah, it's beautiful. This cover is just also really beautiful. Dex, they're the tea monk that you follow throughout, and then the robot moss cap. He's so cute. I want to like talk about him more, but I also don't want to spoil it, but it's just so beautifully written, and I love it. So yeah, I read most of it on the plane yesterday, and this morning I'm reading, and I have like maybe like 40 pages left, so we'll probably finish that and maybe even start something new today. Yeah. Okay, so I finished this book. It's so good. It's so good. I just like, I want to talk about it so much, but I also don't want to spoil it. Why wouldn't you experiment? Okay, so I finished A Psalm for the Wild Built, and it's incredible, like truly probably one of my favorite books of this year. Definitely in the top 10, maybe even number 1. I love this. I really wish I had a prayer for the crown chai with me, but it had not arrived before we left, so I'm gonna have to wait till we get home to read it. I really want to read it. It's so incredible. I mentioned kind of a synopsis earlier, but I want to talk a little bit more about it without talking about spoilers, but talking about a few things. So if you want to know nothing, skip this part. Essentially, right, it's been 200 years since robots decided they wanted their freedom. They decided they wanted to go into the wilderness, which again is separated from where humans are living. And it's like this interesting, like essentially humans are living on this moon in this like utopian society. Essentially, it wasn't always like that, and they often mention like the transition. We don't exactly know what happened, where like humans were destroying the world and realized they needed to change. They did this like big change. We don't know exactly, but that's what happened. I don't want to spoil the plot, but essentially they, sibling Dex, the tea monk, meets this robot, Moss Cap, and they go on this adventure together. And there are just some like incredible themes and things that like I took so many notes and like little quotes, like whole pages that I just like marked because so good. But some of the themes that I like really was intrigued by and enjoyed was sibling Dex's like relationship with nature and like the wild built, because they're so separated from the human worlds, that like dealing with that and understanding like their relationship to nature, super interesting. Similarly, like their relationship with robots, as they were like human made but also wild built. If you read it, you'll kind of find out what that means. But so interesting, and so just like really makes you think about humans, like life, what it means to be human, what it means to be on this planet, like what your relationship with nature is. I was just loving it. I love the whole like meaning, what does it all mean themes. Also just generally that like the world was not made for humans. Like a lot of themes about like what humans relationship place in the world, what humans like think of themselves in relation to other species. So interesting. I absolutely loved it and like could just talk about it all day. But that is A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And yeah, so good. So that's my reading update for now. Okay, kind of match the wall in the hotel room, but I'm about to head out to this wedding, but wanted to share a quick reading update because I started Lapvona by Wissota State Park, and I read my year of rest and relaxation like 6 months ago. I don't know, maybe actually like early, like January or February, and I kind of hated it. I know, I feel like I'm one of the few people. And I feel guilty. And I wanted to try another one of her books. So I was like, maybe I'll like this one better. It's completely different and intriguing. I will say though, the vibes from reading Becky Chambers, so different. I feel like I'm like kind of thrown for a loop. This is a lot darker and like sad and gruesome. So yeah, we're in this like medieval village. There's this boy who's got a lot of deformities, and kind of about so far relationship with his father and the tragedies of their village. So far a lot more depressing, but we shall see. And like reading so much slower too. I think I spent a decent amount of time reading and I'm only at page 25. So yeah, we'll see. It's broken into seasons and we're in the spring right now. So yeah. yesterday after the wedding that we were going to, and we're at State Park. It's really beautiful, and the leaves are changing color already here. So it's like a intro to fall. I love it. Okay, I am checking in. Last night we got back like middle of the night. Today is Sunday, and we just like made some salsa from our garden veggies, and had a pretty chill day. Took our dog out, did a lot of reading, some work. Still working on Lapvona. It's so slow for me. It's getting a little bit quicker, but I'm at summer, which is like the second section, like not even page 100 yet. And it's interesting. Definitely interesting. Very dark, sad, horrible. Just like the things that people do, and like you feel so horrible for some of the characters and what they've been through and like how they've been treated by others in the village. But then they also do horrible things. So it's like, I don't know who we're rooting for in this story. I think that's kind of the point. It's like really the worst of humanity is what it is highlighting. And it's so interesting because like everyone, like it's kind of told in third person, and you see everybody's point of view, and they all think like their God is like they're right, or like they're going to heaven, and they make these judgments on other people, but then they also do similarly horrible things. I'm particularly talking of Merrick's father, Jude, who treats Merrick horribly, but also thinks he's going to heaven, or like repents for these things he does, but also thinks that Merrick is definitely not going to heaven. It's just like this interesting relationship that they all have, because Merrick has these thoughts too, and similarly judges his father and does horrible things. Like, they all do horrible things. And it's just interesting. Their view of God, their God versus like what they do versus what others do. Strange book for sure. Definitely so many trigger warnings, and just like a lot of horrible stuff happens all the time, but I guess it's kind of an interesting insight / take on like humanity and like the darker sides of things. All right, we need to talk about Lapvona. I finished it last night, and it's freaking strange, disturbing, horrific, all those things. However, it is a great book. Like, it is written well. The themes, while tragic and horrible, are kind of interesting to think about. A little bit depressing, but so be warned, it's super dark, and I definitely would not recommend to everyone. Check the trigger warnings. But I thought it was overall like really well done. I liked it a lot better than My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and I'm not sure, like, it's such an unpopular opinion, but for that book, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, I just, like, it felt so privileged and tone deaf. It just didn't hit for me. And I know it's supposed to be satire, but just didn't happen. I don't know how else to explain it. I had to check my phone notes, but one of the thoughts I had when trying to like compare them, they're just so different, her books, the two that I've read. And I felt with this one, I guess, like, while I was like way more horrified, literally felt ill, but it somehow felt more honest in its like tragedy and privilege than My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I don't know. The characters are unlikable, they're horrible, but I just feel like I got more out of like what it was trying to say about like humanity and like the darker sides of things. And to me, My Year of Rest and Relaxation was just so privileged and depressing. I don't know. A lot of people love it though. That is Lapvona though. While depressing and really horrible, I'm really glad I read it, and it was good. So I also decided, because I got the next book in the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers, A Prayer for the Crown Shy. I don't know where I put it, but I'm actually going to just continue this vlog, finish that, what is a duology, and then I'll have read 3 books. It still has not been a week yet, so hopefully that'll be, I'll finish that within a week. So, yeah. Okay, I had to come on here and talk about A Prayer for the Crown Shy. I finished it, loved it almost as much as the first one. Becky Chambers is just so brilliant. Like, the way she describes and develops relationships between individual beings is so beautiful, and I just think that that's such a strong suit and just draws me to her. Like, I want to know more, want to hear more of their conversations. This one essentially, so it's like a mini spoiler for the first if you haven't read that. I don't know if I said this before, but this is about Mosscap the robot and sibling Dex and their journey after they come down from the mountain in the first one. There's like less, I mean, there is plot, there's less like specific plot I felt like in this, but I still really liked it. Just like beautiful vibes. And this one was like, to me, more about like purpose and relationships, and I really love those things, so I wanted even more. It was so good, and I actually do even think it was the right length, but at the same time I wanted to hear more about their adventures and their individual, like, Mosscap's interactions and conversations with other humans. So Mosscap has this question, is like sent from the robots to ask the question, what do humans need? And that's kind of what their journey revolves around, that question, and Mosscap trying to find answers. So fantastic, though. Like, it feels like there could be another, but I haven't been able to find anything out about it. If there will be, what's going on with that? So if you know anything, let me know. Either way, so brilliant, and I hope there's gonna be more. So that is it for this reading vlog. Read 3 awesome books and kind of brought in the fall season a little bit. So I'm super excited for the rest of fall. I have lots of like reading vlogs and just fun fall activities planned. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and would love to hear what you guys are reading. Bye.